one short sentence. But we were working also mainly with living composers. In those days, music technology was in the ascendant, and it was not just for young people. I want to play you now an example of some work we did with some old people, some old ladies, in a town called Scunthorpe in the north of England, with the composer Trevor Wishart, creating electronic music out of their dreams. That was Louis again, I think.
I walked into her house. And on her kitchen top there was a bunch of blue tulips. I go further into the house, there's another bunch of blue tulips. There's another bunch of blue tulips. Not in any water, not in a vase, and there's me really upset about these blue tulips not having any water. And I go looking round for a vase. This is a true dream. And I didn't find a vase for these blue tulips. And I walked out really upset. And I feel upset now, thinking about these blue tulips.
So, when these old ladies heard Stockhausen's Gesang der Jünglinge, there were no surprises. Like the people who went to hear Brahms, they'd done it themselves beforehand. Bringing composers and professional musicians into prisons has been another important plank of my work. I want to play you something from an occasion when the Southbank Centre held a festival of the music of John Tavener, who's a leading British composer of largely sacred music and very popular. And the only new commission of this festival was created for the men of Pentonville Prison who wanted to form a choir. They'd never had a choir before, they wanted to form a choir, and it was decided that it would be great to have a major commission. So the public attended a concert as part of the festival in the prison chapel where the inmates had formed this choir and performed the new work with a string quartet and percussionist from the London Sinfonietta. I'll play you a bit of that. Doing this work, my big professional lesson was never underestimate people and their power to engage. Sorry?
You cannot be filmed if this is
Oh, right, okay. Right, fine. I'm going to move so I can be filmed, apparently. So I learned that great music can change and move people as long as it's presented with integrity and imagination and without compromise. Talk down to people and you fail. And this principle continued to guide me when I stepped out into the cold light of pure programming, out of the perhaps cozier ambience of educational and community work. Firstly, I became artistic director of the London Sinfonietta and then head of contemporary culture at London's Southbank Centre. And I passionately share the desire to broaden concert audiences, to reach new people, but I'd witnessed far too many rather feeble attempts at audience-pleasing crossover. I referred to this as music with its muscle surgically removed. I could feel, though, that the audience wasn't pleased, that they were so up for something, for stuff which was rich and complex and textured and surprising. And my work with kids, with old people, with prisoners and other people in the community had really made me bold in this aspect, or given me courage. Something I'd been rather circling around for a while was the electronic music of the Warp record label, which may be familiar to some of you, particularly the music of Aphex Twin and Square Pusher, whose complexity and energy was quite close to much of the music I was concerned with. It was like pushing in an open door when I made this suggestion to the record label. They'd been seeking exactly the same kind of ground for their artists and audiences. There was a sense that electronica would feel more rooted if it could get in touch with its biological musical parents, at least on one side, with, for example, Varese, John Cage, Stockhausen, Steve Reich, Ligeti. So we took a huge risk and planned a concert in the Royal Festival Hall in 2004, which juxtaposed performances of Aphex Twin and Square Pusher with avant-garde classics such as Ligeti, Stockhausen, etc., and Cage. We also commissioned great visuals so that it was a multimedia experience. We were advised by the record label that musicians who create work solely on computers in their bedrooms are not natural-born collaborators necessarily. And interestingly, of course, just a sideline about the... we decided just to go ahead and juxtapose things, but as we went on with this project, the musicians were drawn in, and finally, Square Pusher actually went on tour with us. But interestingly, about the audience, many of the people in the audience were making music in their bedrooms too, so the sounds of Ligeti and Stockhausen were not alien to them. Adorno said a long time ago that technology would be the death of musical culture. He was talking about the radio. But I like to think that the laptop is the 21st century version of the domestic music making I was talking about earlier, which connected a 19th century audience so intimately to the concert experience, even if it's less sociable than a piano duet. I'm going to play a little arrangement of some music by Square Pusher from that concert. It was arranged for the London Sinfonietta, just a very short blast of this. That particular concert was a very quick sellout, 3,000 seats, and it's gone round the world, including to the Muziekgebouw aan de IJ, is that how you say it, here in Amsterdam, and it's been released as a recording by the Warp label. In the concerts, the loudest cheers were usually for Ligeti or John Cage,